All right.
Right, so we talked about it in the memory team channel. So we've got the Puma Epic 954. Now that Puma's out on production, there are some wrap-up tasks that we need to have. Yeah, it's fantastic.
That is good. That's a great accomplishment.
Oh, it's huge.
It's a long road to get here, but we did it.
Yep. So this is Epic 954. So enabling Puma on the web server, which it's kind of turned into just the Puma Epic. It's not just focused on web server for GitLab. So Camille raised a question about what's next. What do we need to wrap up for Puma? And I think these top five issues make sense for the most immediate need. The rest of them are nice to haves, and we just need to make sure that they're in the right priority order and we have folks assigned to them. Like the first one, make Puma on by default, is not scheduled.
We can't do that first. That's going to be I think a larger thing, right? So I think we first need to figure out what the right defaults are for Omnibus, okay. Like number 3. That way we can have a like-for-like installation, if that makes sense. And then I think we're going to need the documentation to make sure that we have. I think I opened up an issue on this. I probably didn't add it to the document this Epic. But we need also add documentation for people at different node sizes, right? Like how should they structure the worker and thread counts? Mm-hmm. Is it always like WX and like T2 or what do we land on? Because that should be in there as well, because we have customers with some larger nodes, of course. Yep. And we want to have some documentation in there, aside from just the defaults, which will likely be like the it's pretty small box installation, right? I
think
let me try and find that Puma documentation. Yeah, document worker thread size for Puma. Here it is. So it's pretty brief. It's assigned 12.9. What's the enable Puma for GitLab, right? Okay, I got it.
954.
So let me add. Yep, I'll add it right now.
Okay.
Cool. That is added. Awesome. Okay, so that probably can be down below that one. So we have 2 on, but okay, one is charts. Let me rename this to be charts so it's more clear. Yarb just commented on lack of no downtime Rails worker for single VM installations. Yeah, that's a thing. All right, so we have 3 on by default issues. Charts. We don't need to go through this in detail here, but my guess is that we have
probably need to clean those up. Okay.
Yeah.
List those in the doc.
Yeah, one's opened by you for Omnibus, and then one's opened by Camille for everyone, which includes the references to. Okay, so it's like a meta issue. It's really an Epic, which is the 3rd one down there. Is there any telemetry that we need for this to make sure to make sure we know how the rollout's going? Like, I imagine we'll make it opt-in for some time. Well, it's already opt-in right now, but right now it's sort of like opt-in, but with like a whole bunch of asterisks around it. Like, it's experimental. So what we'll want to do is likely remove the experimental status, right? And have more confident foot forward once we have the documentation done, which is saying, hey, try this. like you will see good results and you will like it, and we're making it the default in X. Maybe it's 13.0. I don't think we need to make the default switch to 13.0 because it's not really breaking. The only breaking aspect would be the single node restart times, right? The downtime during reconfigure. So basically, we'll have
telemetry would live.
We'll have a rollout of opt out, opt in, which is basically remove experimental status and stronger nudge in release post, right? And set a time frame for opt out, and then opt out, and then finally removal of unicorn at some point in time. Because I imagine that's a goal.
Is it?
Do you want to support unicorn forever? Do we need to have unicorn there forever?
No, I'll file that under stupid question.
I mean, it might not be. I mean, I don't know. Like, we might have a need for it in some other places. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. Does unicorn, like, does like Sidekick have unicorn in it somewhere?
I don't know. I mean, and if someone really wanted unicorn-like features, they could always tune Puma down to unicorn equivalent. So yeah, it makes sense to remove it at a certain point. So I retract my question.
Yeah. Removal of unicorn probably needs to be in a major release, like be it 13.0, 14.0. Maybe not. It's not breaking, kind of, except the fact that you get the single node downtime.
If we want telemetry from customers, I think 13 is probably too fast for removal of unicorn.
I'm not sure we need telemetry because, well,
even any kind of feedback, right? I mean, 13.0 is not that far away.
Oh yeah, no, I think removal of unicorn is too aggressive for 13.0. So we can remove that. Telemetry would be interesting if you're a little more concerned on the rollout. Like in the Postgres 11 rollout, it's like, ooh, should we have some idea of, like, before we make it opt out, how many people actually took the plunge and if any? So it's sort of interesting on the Puma side. So we get a sense of how many people have actually tried this and haven't reported problems before we go and making it opt out, and like little comfort factor, since we really don't have a way to do like a progressive deployment across our like self-managed fleet. But I'm not sure we need to. And basically, I think the only telemetry would really be, is it on or off? Puma or unicorn, right? But I'm not sure it's that helpful. I'm not sure it's that risky in some ways. Or is it? I don't know. Maybe we add it. It's pretty lightweight. Like, I think it's pretty. Can we detect that from our code base, like from the Rails code, whether we're in Puma or Unicorn?
Yes, because of the rugged patch notification, right? If we're running Puma with a less than desirable config, or with rugged, then you get a notice. So I would imagine somewhere in that code we're doing some kind of Puma detection.
Yeah, that's the other facet here. So the really breaking things are, like, the things we need to watch out for are rugged. Upgrade. I'm gonna call them bumps, concerns, whatever. Call them concerns right now. So the rugged and the single node reconfigure outage, right?
Yep.
So we'll have to update to address those, right? The reconfigure outage basically is it's probably less impactful for single nodes because they kind of already go down for a short period of time, right? To some degree, if we change like if we bump Ruby, I think it actually goes down for a period of time. For example, I believe, or if we bump Unicorn, like the version, since the whole container has to restart, but that'll happen more often now. I think the bigger challenge is on HA installations. People might not have the health check set up right. So it might not brown out. It might not get pulled out of the load balancer while it's reconfiguring. You know, I don't know. Do we do that? Have we? Do you know if we've done anything there?
I don't know.
Right. Let's check with infra there. Because it'd be kind of stinky if you did an upgrade and you had like percentage errors across the fleet while the reconfigures were rolling. That wouldn't be fun.
Yeah.
We don't ship our own load balancers, so it's really kind of difficult. So the best thing we could do is probably strongly recommend that they have the right liveness check, right? I know I'm just like brain dumping here. So if this is not helpful on what we need to do to, this is not what you're looking for to get out of here.
No, that clarifies some of the, like, it seems like there's still some work in Puma that we can do next. So for 12.10.
Yeah. And then the rugged stuff, we don't want to support it, right? Is the general path. And if you do need it, you go back to worker X thread 1, right? Which is the fallback solution, which is like the unicorn behavior. And we detect it to some degree. We present the warnings, which is good.
Yep.
There might be some support enablement we have to do here. Make sure, like in docs, to make sure this is clear. And the support team is aware. So if they see someone upgrading to whatever version, make it on by default, and they're like, "Oh, something's not working." It's like, "Oh, have you tried logging in as an admin? Do you see a blue prompt that comes up and tells you that you're running rugged and Puma? Because if so, you're gonna need to edit your configuration."
Yep.
All right. So I think that's the action items, right? We should investigate the single node reconfigure. We should make sure we have the right documentation in place for the rugged stuff. And then the rollout really is just, you can probably, I mean, even now they can probably remove the experimental status if we wanted to, right? Are we comfortable doing that? I can make changes to the release post and just add a Puma item and just be like, you know, Puma no longer experimental now. I guess we can say GA, you know, or whatever, Puma application server, generally available, right? It won't be on by default, and then in the text will be like, you know, the on by default, whatever, you can soon or something.
Yeah, I think you can update the release post. I was thinking about that this morning. You can include the announcement or a link to us being out on .com. So maybe I guess that gets some more confidence from our customers.
Yeah. Do we want a blog? I think there's a like sort of a great recommendation of a blog post on this, right? I probably can't write that. I'm not sure if you or Camille or Matthias or anyone wants to. I'm happy to review it or write some of the boilerplate stuff, but I probably can't be the primary content generation.
I think, yes, we can get a blog post. I think it'll largely be Camille and his expertise, but could certainly get an outline from this one. I think most of the content's going to be here. I mean, we can call back to when we first started, build up, and even include some of the results. So yes, I will put that. It seems like a good one for, if not this milestone, next milestone, probably next milestone. Well, I guess how important is the timing on this?
It's not that important. So I'm looking at our documentation for Puma, and unless we can beef it up and really make it robust in the next 2 days, I'm not sure I want to have the big announcement to encourage people to go use it, because like nothing is in here.
Yeah. There's a lot of information. It's just all over the place. So, and I don't think nobody's dedicated to it right now. So let's wait, and we'll get some good documentation, and we can include it in the release post for 12.9.
Yeah, I think that's wise, because like I searched GitLab Puma documentation and I landed on the Omnibus page. If I can share my screen, just give me a second. I can show you what I'm referring to. But like so if you search for Puma, GitLab Puma documentation, you'll land here, which is great. But then you end up at this page, which doesn't really tell you anything.
Mm-hmm.
Tells you how to turn it on, and tells you how to like adjust the worker counts and the thread counts, but doesn't give you any guidance on what to do. And if you click on the Puma documentation, it takes you literally to the Puma documentation. So that's not super helpful. Yeah, so that's not super helpful. This is better actually, because we actually have the rugged stuff in here. We'll probably want to have Russell do a pass here. But again, I think we need more context, like recommendations on thread counts and worker counts, and otherwise it's just I think we might be setting people up for some degree of failure, and that's not what we want.
No, like I said, all the information exists. It's just spread throughout issues in that epic. So we have thread recommendations just out of the box, and we can certainly add some anecdotal information that we had from .com and the performance issues that we were seeing from that tuning issue. Yep.
All right, so rollout. I would say 12.9 maybe, right? Let's aim for that. Opt in, opt out. By opt in, I mean like it's opt in right now, but basically like we'll make sure the documentation is there. Remove the experimental status. We'll say it's GA, all that kind of good stuff in 12.9. Opt out, we can aim for, I don't know, 13.0 maybe.
Yep.
Seems like the best place to do it. We'll be changing two major things at the same time: Tushka's 11 and Puma. So that'll be a fun one. I mean, sort of multivariable calculus on any kind of problems that pop up. Is it Puma? Is it Postgres? Yep. I don't know. We changed both. And then we can schedule removal probably in 14.0. Right, that seems like a reasonable time frame. Give people a year to move over if they want to.
Yep.
I don't think there's super urgency here, and it is. Well, it's not really breaking, but if you're on rugged, you'll have to do something different, right? You'll have to like edit you have to edit the configuration, because the defaults probably won't have thread count of 1.
Right.
So if we opt you in, you will have to opt out or do something, which is why it's in 13. So we could actually do this sooner, I think, because really this is where the action is required in 13.0. Maybe that's aggressive. I don't know. But waiting until 14.0 seems wrong.
Yeah.
And having a minor upgrade that requires some of our largest customers who use rugged to manually edit the configuration also seems wrong. That feels more like a breaking change than a patch release if you're like required to edit the configuration to make sure your instance doesn't fall over.
Always push it back to 13.3 to work out some of the kinks.
For opt-out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, but I kind of feel like if we're going to require, if we're going to make people, if people on rugged have to make a configuration change, or if they don't, their instance will have negative performance impacts, then that feels like a major change to me.
Okay.
I think it's not. I mean, I guess technically it's not a breaking change. We can see. We can aim for 13.0 and be a little aggressive. Especially considering the worst case scenario, you just turn it off. You know, you set the flag if it's not working for you. It's an easy fix.
Yeah, just switch it back to unicorn if you're not ready to switch over.
Right. And but we can keep our eye on it. I'd rather do it in a major release because of the fact that it's, again, will require a config change for some of our customers. But yeah. Okay, cool. We can just sort of say this is optimistic a little bit. We can just keep an eye on it. Telemetry, I'm not sure we have to. It'd be interesting. It's probably worth it. It probably takes 5 minutes, right, to add something to the usage ping. Okay, maybe a little bit over ambitious, but like an hour or two.
Is that a distribution thing?
We could make a distribution or memory. I think either one. Really, what has to happen is it has to get into the usage ping RB file. Have you seen that? Have you seen that thing?
Nope.
Usage ping RB, I think. Oh, come on. Where is it? It's a library somewhere in GitLab. I guess it's not indexed very well. Anyways, it's really quite simple. There's whatever. I can't. It's actually like all right. I'll just try to find it really fast. I think it's under lib. There's version check. I don't think it's in that version check. Anyways, it's somewhere in here. It's relatively easy to deal with. So whatever. All right, can't find it. Moving on. I'll make an issue for it. We can discuss whether we want to do it. It's fairly trivial. You write a SQL query into that library file or whatever detection you want to use, and you just basically like return a counter, like 0 or 1 if it's on or off. But that's like the extent of it.
Usage data? No. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Later.
So cool, we get 4 minutes. Puma, what are we working next? Puma wrap-up work.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be some work there.
Yep, I think we'll have some work for 12.9 for sure. Well, I already have it scheduled for 12.9. Some maybe for 12.10 we can take a look at. Like we'll need to get this stuff documented for sure, I think, in here, and ask infrastructure how they're doing it. And then yeah, and then so there's this, and then I think aren't we doing some of the additional profiling this release?
There was some import profiling that was happening, but actually the import team took that issue.
Okay.
Scheduled it in theirs. So, but the Ruby on Rails performance training is actually going to happen starting Monday, and there might be something that pops up in that training that we can incorporate into 12.10.
Cool.
12.10 is going to include contribute, so it's going to be a shorter milestone anyway. So
yeah, we can also help on any cable. That sounds like it's probably going to proceed. So I'm not sure I don't think we should be the one to implement it because we don't know their use case requirements, but we might be able to assist with some questions. I think there was a thought about going to action cable first, which scares me. Because I don't know how you turn that on in GitLab without GitLab.com without spinning up like additional nodes. And then, so I'll take maybe, and then I think the other thing was just some of the profiling work, right? Like, what else is, where else can we next optimize on some of these things?
Yeah, we have some older issues. I have some ideas on where we can look or what tools to use. So I'll dig those back up and throw them into our next planning issue.
Who owns tracing? Man, speaking of profiling, it kind of feels like if we get like a elastic tracer on, or really any kind of tracing on GitLab, that might help us understand more of where these bottlenecks are.
Yep.
I know we have added support for tracing, but I believe we still call it experimental, which also means that our customers don't run it generally. And so until we kind of feel like we can run it at scale on GitLab.com, I wonder, who would do that? It's one of those things that just doesn't fall anywhere. This is probably why it's not done yet. Because last contribute, I'm pretty sure Andrew had tracing support built into GitLab, and it's been a year and we haven't gone anywhere with it, which is sort of sad.
Yeah, seems like a valuable tool we should make use of.
Yeah, right. Because you can kind of exactly see where this, where all the time is going in these requests. So,
yep.
All right. I'm not sure if it's memory, but I don't know who else would work on this stuff. There's a broader question in the product team around like technical debt and making sure we prioritize it. But a lot of this stuff just doesn't fit anywhere.
Yep.
It's the same problem with like our upload, our cloud storage upload frameworks. We have two: background upload and direct upload. And who maintains those? Who is working to try and cut us over from one to the other? And no one is basically the answer. So as far as I know, it's just one of these areas where it's like, I don't know, it's one of these cross-stage frameworks. You know, it's used by multiple stages. Who owns it? I don't know, like no one.
Yeah, other companies I've worked at have had like a core team that owns stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and so I don't know, depending on whether we find like what we find in the process of doing some of the profiling and Ruby on Rails performance training.
Yep.
Maybe we take some of these things to help further like investigate what's happening, and also just level up our ability to understand what's happening in our application.
Yep. For sure.
So.
I mean, worst case, we could inform teams like, hey, you've got a bottleneck here. Here's what we've identified, and send them some tech debt.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's also, in my opinion, some of the charter of the team, which is to try and make sure we have the tools and tools and frameworks in place to determine where these things where the problems are. Okay, cool. So I think that sounds good. So I'll work through this list and try and make sure we have issues for all these things, and milestones attached. And then also we probably make sure we look into this one with the infrastructure. But cool. And then we have someone to work with Russell on the documentation, right? I think. Because he's
worst case, I can point him to where, like, if he's gonna take the lead on this and start writing up the documentation, I can point him to where a lot of this information is. So if there's nobody else, I can help him.
All right, cool. Awesome. Okay, thank you, sir. I'll work through these.
Cool. All right. See you, Josh.
Ciao.